What's up YouTube? Welcome to another video here on Forever Life Fitness. Thank you for joining me once again. I am so excited to be making this video. And I know it's not my standard vlog style video. It's something that's quite important to me. It's something that I think should be vitally important to anyone. A is working out and B wants to compete in a competition. That is how to achieve perfect six-pack. Now before I even get started, I want to give you a little bit of anatomy about the muscles that I generally target when I work out and when I try to stress those abs. A lot of the times people focus on the main six-pack abs, the muscles right at the front that everyone can see when you have a low body fat percentage. And it's vitally important if you want to get that tapered look, that big back down towards a smaller waist, you have to work on the core muscle, the obliques, external, internal obliques, and also the transverse abdominis. Now we're not going to talk about how to isolate those particular muscles, but what we will talk about is different exercises that will activate those muscles and make sure they're also getting trained throughout your regime. Now before I say anything, I want to give all of you a disclaimer. No matter what you do in the gym, if you follow this exercise routine down to a T, it does not matter what you do unless you make sure your nutrition is right. We all have abdominal muscles, every single one of us. The overweight guy that you see every day in the shop, he has abdominal muscles. But guess what? Because he has so much subcutaneous fat, unfortunately you cannot see those abdominal muscles. So the most important thing from being able to go from this to this is essentially this. And I can't stress to you enough how important your diet is when you're trying to achieve six-pack abs. There's no way you can do it from just crunching your way towards it. You have to make sure your nutrition is correct. The best piece of advice I ever got given by anyone regarding trying to achieve abs is that abs are not made in the gym, they're made in the kitchen. So my abs are not as defined as they were previously. However, it does not mean the work I'm doing at the moment is in vain. When I did my last cut back in January, February, I thought I looked really good and I felt I was definitely stage material. However, what I did feel is that each individual muscle was a little bit smaller than what I wanted. Hence why I decided to go on this bulk. Ultimately, what I'm trying to do at the moment is increase volume. Now, unfortunately, the thing about bulk is you don't see the fruits of your labour until you cut down, until you start to deplete your calories, which is what I'm intending to do next year. In order to really see what your hard work has produced, you do need to get down to at least 12% body fat before you really start to see really good abs. Now in this video I'm going to talk about 5 different exercises that target the abs in slightly different ways. It doesn't mean that this is the only way to do it. I'm not saying that by any means. This is just what I do and I try to do this at least once a week. I find that working your abs throughout all your exercises by focusing on your core when you're doing any compound movement is probably the best way to develop really good abs. As I'm trying to increase the mass of my abs, I think it's important to also do some weighted stuff throughout the week. Furthermore, in order for me to reduce my waist so that when I stand up on stage I have that V look, you do need to work on core stability because essentially they work almost like a corset, and by working those and getting those nice and tight you'll have the appearance of a smaller waist. Couple that with big lats and you have that V, that Christmas tree that everyone really likes. So let's get straight into the workout. So the first thing I like to do obviously is warm up. You've seen me do my jog loads of times, but I just want to show you, I even do it on this day. 5-minute jog, nothing too strenuous. I tend to like to run backwards sometimes just to keep it a bit exciting, but must warm up, really important. Now in terms of the exercises, the sets and the reps, as long as I reach roughly around the 20 repetition mark for 4 sets, I'm happy with that. Now you have your rectus abdominis, which those are the muscles that you see right at the front. Those are the ones that give you that six-pack appearance. I'm not going to talk too much about the anatomy, but you need to have an idea of where these muscles are and where they attach to in order to know how to work them. Your rectus abdominis attaches around the pubic region all the way to your sternum. In order to contract those muscles, you need to try and get that distance as short as possible. My first exercise is always stomach crunches. You do not need to do a full sit-up in order to work with rectus abdominis. Like I said guys, I try and aim for about 20 repetitions and I try and repeat that 4 times. That takes me on to my next exercise, which is the TRX pendulum swing. Something that not many people do, and I want to give credit where credit is due. I saw this on another YouTube channel. I will put a link to that channel in the description. I don't want anyone to think I'm copying without at least giving credit to the place where I got it. But this is something that I've seen this guy do before, and I felt, yes, it was a very good way of working the external and the internal obliques. For those of you who don't know what those muscles are, they run from your ribs to your pelvis, and they run in opposite directions. The external obliques run downwards and the internal obliques run upwards. Essentially, those are part of the core set that make up your core. So when you work those muscles, they become really tight, and it helps with all your compound movements. Also reduces the risk of having back injury when working out, doing things like bench press, squats. It makes sure that you're able to maintain a good core all the way through those movements. The next exercise I do definitely for the obliques is once again one that I saw from another YouTube channel. Again, his link will be in the description, so if you want to go check out more stuff from them, you can find the link in the description. Essentially what you're doing is you're putting yourself into a side plank. You're going to have your forearm in contact with the floor and your elbow bent to 90 degrees and your fist facing forward. You're then going to take the opposite hand onto the air, and essentially what you're doing is rotating your body so that your elbow comes in contact with your forearm. The great thing about this exercise is that when you do it, you're not only working the internal and external obliques concentrically, you're also working them eccentrically. Once you have rotated your elbow towards your forearm, you're going to go back to the start position, finish off by bringing your hips towards the ceiling, also known as a lateral flex, side flex, whatever you want to call it, but essentially you can see what I'm doing in the video. It just works the muscles in a very, very different way, and it targets different muscles, and all of that collectively will help to strengthen that core set that I've been talking about throughout this video. The next exercise is one that I've done for a very, very long time, and I find it very useful. Not only does it work all your abdominal muscles, your core muscles, also works the deltoids and also the biceps. And that's what I like to call weighted torso twists. You're holding the weight in front of you, you're keeping your feet facing forwards, your hips facing forwards, and you're just moving your torso from one side to the next. Now what you should find when you're doing this exercise, if you're doing it correctly, you should find that you get a contraction on both sides, because the external obliques work when you rotate to the opposite direction. This takes me on to an exercise I haven't really been doing for that long, but I definitely think it's worth it, and I think everyone should incorporate into their workout sessions, and that is what I like to call incline weighted stomach crunches. So essentially what I'm doing is lying down on a decline bench. From there I dismount the bar as I normally would if I was doing a bench press. Instead of pressing the bar down towards my chest, I essentially keep my elbows extended, and I essentially do a stomach crunch up towards the ceiling. And I like to just extend my shoulders at the end of the movement, and I'm essentially trying to push the bar as high into the ceiling as I can. And I find this exercise really, really works those muscles really well. It helps get all of those muscles engaged, all the core muscles and also the superficial abdominal muscles. And last but by no means least, I take you into side bends using either a kettlebell or a weight, whichever one you can use, dumbbell, anything along those lines. But again, this is an exercise that a lot of people do in the gym. It's one of those ones like the stomach crunches, everyone knows it. When I do it, I really try and focus on getting that core set nice and tight before I do the movement. And what I tend to do is actually put my hands on the areas that I think should be contracting. I try and get that biofeedback. So I try and actually feel if those muscles are maintaining the contraction all the way through. If I feel they're not, sometimes I even lift my shirt up slightly so I can have a look and just make sure I maintain that nice contraction so I can repeat that movement 10 to 20 times. So guys, that's going to take me to the end of this video, but I hope you enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed making it. If you've enjoyed the video and you think it's been helpful, don't forget to share, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Until then, peace.